It all started as a child. After years of watching Pokemon, you found out that it's actually a Japanese cartoon. The world of anime is vast and full of wonder. As such, you watched all you could until you ran out of anime to continue watching. As you sat alone, a series of still images appeared to connect the dots. Eureka, you just had an idea. And you're in luck, because I'm trying to farm you for views. As such, I have taken the painstaking effort of drawing as many different types of anime women possible to bring you the ultimate guide to drawing anime waifus. First, we will set a baseline with a typical anime woman. We want to start with our basic building blocks: a circle for the head, an oval shape for the ribs, and whatever the heck this shape is for the hips. Simply map out the legs, knees, ankles, and shoulders of our character. To construct the arms, we want to have her shoulder merge softly with the bicep and tricep so that there isn't a jarring bump. That way she won't look too muscular. We then want our forearm tapering off softly to our wrist and connect with our hand. As for the other arm, we want to draw with the same forearm shape and then connect the tricep to the elbow like so. Connect our ribs to hips with a nice hourglass figure. Next, draw the legs. We want our thighs nice and thick just below the hips before gradually tapering off towards our knee. Then, have a soft bump for the calf before once again tapering off to our simple foot placeholder. Now we can finally draw a jaw and the ears of our character. Once you're done with that, go ahead and add a simple hand over her head like so. Now we can add our chest. We want the outermost lines to merge with our pit lines while keeping a nice rounded soft shape for the overall breast. Add a little bit of cheek under her hips or her glutes. Make any needed changes and balancing before you trace over your construction lines with your hard lines. Now we will take a look at a petite anime character. This time I merged some of the steps just to save a little bit of extra time so this video isn't too long. So just go ahead, draw a simple head, followed by the ribs and shoulders, and finally the hips. Don't forget to add the lats off the center of our shoulder circle, as well as the shoulder blades beside her curvy spine. Add in our neck like so. Hang our arms from the shoulders following the same methods in the previous example, with smooth lines without any harsh edges. Add a small boob just barely visible off the front of our waifu. Then add our thighs. Even with petite characters, we can still keep the thighs relatively thick. At this angle, we want our calf muscle to bump out on both sides before tapering off to the foot. Now we'll swing back up to the glutes. We want the glute furthest from us to be stretching with her forward leg, so keep a flatter line at the top before having an aggressive tuck in at the base. For our other glute, this one is pulling her rear leg back, and as such will be a little bit higher than the other cheek and extra rounded since it's contracting. Don't forget to add its baseline bending over the thigh like so. Just add your hard lines and you are all set. Now is the time to take a peek at a tall anime character. This time she'll be bent over ever so slightly towards us. We want to draw a head circle along with our ribs and hips for our character. This time we want the top of the rib shape to have kind of a diamond shape to it. This will serve as guidelines to help us draw the traps and the collarbone of our character later. Now we can add the jaw and ears, as well as map out the arms and legs of our character. We've already gone over how to draw the arms, legs, things like that, so this time I'll just walk you through the stuff that is new. Her boobs are going to be supported by her right arm, so make sure they flatten a bit at the base, and that their overall mass is brought higher than typical. This will make them more rounded at the top. Then we want to connect our traps to the neck like so. Once you're finished with your line art, it should look something like this. We will now draw an athletic woman stretching for a run. We want to start with the head, ribs, and hips like normal. However, this time we want the shoulder line angled sharply like so. Draw in our arms and legs in the same fashion we've been drawing them in. Only this time, be sure to keep the shoulders really rounded and distinct as they are tensing to pull the arms up. As for our stomach, we want the lower side on our left to have a scrunched hourglass look, whereas the other side that's being stretched out will have a much more gradual hourglass shape. On our athletic character, it's okay to keep sharp, distinct hips as she doesn't have a lot of body fat to soften them up. Add small boobs and our neck. Once finished, your character should look something like this. We will now draw a thin anime waifu. Start with the head, ribs, and hips like we've been doing. Add our limbs and stomach. For thin characters, really keep the arms thin all throughout with only slight bumps for the forearms. Notice that our thighs are still at their thickest just below the hips like always, but we keep the thigh tight and have a slightly more angular shape to the curve so that they don't look quite as soft and pillowy. Add a small chest and neck. Once finished, you should have a thin character like so. Similar to our athletic build, make sure her hips are distinct and pointy due to the lower body fat. We will now draw a thick anime waifu. We want to start with a classic sort of head, ribs, and hips. Only this time, keep the hips much wider than usual. We want to make sure that even her shoulder circles will fit comfortably within the boundaries set by our hips. Throw her arms behind her head like so. Remember to keep the shoulders super rounded as they are contracting to pull her arms up. We want to add large boobs that still will merge with our pit line like so. Connect the ribs and hips with a soft, rounded stomach. We still want an hourglass figure. However, using rounded lines like so will help to keep her looking soft and pillowy. Then add thick thighs and calves to fill out our extra wide hip structure. You can now finish the upper body. And when you're all set, your character should look something like this. We will now draw a muscle girl. Still start with the typical building blocks like so. Now connect the midsection and add some ab detail. We don't want super bubbly abs, we just want little lines to show that they exist. Now draw distinct, rounded shoulders into rigid arms. For our muscular girls, we want to have them look a little more dense. So rather than smooth, soft-looking, tapering lines towards our joints, we instead want a more angular, sharp line to help showcase the muscle. This is especially noticeable when you're drawing the legs, where a lot of the female's muscles will be visible. Draw a large chest to keep our character looking distinctly feminine, and then finish with hard lines like so. We will now finish the tutorial with a mature woman. Similar to our thick woman, we want distinct, large hips. Map out some arms and long legs. Draw the arms and legs using the same methods we've been using all along. Add a large bust and glutes visible just beneath the hips. We can finish our line art for our Ara waifu. Obviously, there are many more ways to draw anime women as they come in many different shapes and sizes. Sky is the limit. I will in future videos be going over each body type in more detail for a comprehensive guide, as well as posing them and framing them for your own anime portraits. For now though, this will serve as a great base to help you along your journey of drawing anime women. Now like and subscribe.